Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her era lore. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck
Started
is the
off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. The field's not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
40.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Happy Friday, all. Appreciate y'all being here. We are live on X Audio Spaces, X Video, Abstract, as well as YouTube. And it's a Friday. That means it's Coffee with Captain Day. So if you would like to participate, head over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe, and yeah, be ready for someone's hitting a grail today. I can actually, yes, someone is hitting a grail today. I can feel it, and I believe it is, assuming he makes it into the chat, I believe it is Diego's day for Coffee with Captain. And but we will keep any active chat members and participators in mind for next Friday's Coffee with Captain, as well as the community member of the month. The last Friday of the month is in line for a claw pull as well, and that's the big one. So today will be a $50 variety of Coffee with Captain, and then the end of the month will be the $250 claw pull. By the way, we talked about briefly that Payne takes the blame for this one. I occasionally get distracted from time to time, and Payne, that one was your fault. I'm giving you full blame on that. But yes, GM Zane and all of our War Room members, all of our we're figuring this thing out. We recently did a, I say we, mostly Payne is behind it, as well as assist with Outer, or from Outer, on the new icon logo for our Discord, and trying to figure out the best path here. Open to ideas, open to suggestions, but we greatly appreciate the chat. There's the community is a real community. Very grateful for all of you. And so we have the DJ Network Pass grants access to the gated portion of the Discord, the War Room, which is our main chat. My main chat. It's like my Web3 home, where we often can, pre-show conversations, continue the conversations after the show. we want to be respectful to those who have purchased a pass. And like myself, paying, we've never made any money off the pass. It was gated because during the Mania, we wanted to, the community requested that we gate it to protect allow lists, et cetera, that we're getting. And we did that. And it's been it's a smaller community, and it's not like there's not tens of thousands of people in there. There's a couple hundred, of which like maybe 60 to 100 are active on a monthly basis. But it's, all day, every day, there's people chatting in there. And, I'll wake up in the morning and there's dozens of chats from the night prior. Anyways, long story short, we wanted to enable the Coffee with Captain community, create a home for the ability to continue the conversation after the show, between the show, but didn't want to create a whole nother Discord. And as DJ Network, for all intents and purposes, has been sunset, wound down. Or the other co-founders moved on to, no disrespect to us, but bigger and better things. Big, Bunchu are, who's joins us for This Week in AI, our monthly segment on Mondays, weekly segment on Mondays, building Billy Betts, and Steve took a leadership role with OpenSea. And so instead of building a new Discord, we opened up our Discord, rebranded it, opened the Discord for invite only. And so we have a few channels that are the invite only, and then we still have the war room, which is token gated. The reality is most of the conversation happens in that token gated portion, but still attempting to figure out what makes the most sense, what is to where we can have one home, but yet still have the added perks, benefits, and somewhat of a private chat for those that do hold the pass. But we will. One thing is for sure is if you've not yet hit the newsletter, go subscribe today. It comes out one a week. There's no. We don't spam you. We don't sell your email. It's simply you get the recap of the week, this week in crypto, Web3, markets, and it includes a link to all the shows. You haven't to miss any. I'm going to leave that QR code up right now. I'm a fan of these new features. They've got the QR code now that's easy to flash on screen. They just recently, you can notice that the Coffee with Captain logo in there. They just made that customizable this past week. For all the talk of the end of SaaS and software changing, StreamYard has really been shipping a lot of updates, and I don't hear anyone talk about. I know a lot of people use StreamYard. Some people do. I can't remember the Restream, I think, is the other one, and then a few people who use OBS as like their where they produce their shows, but then often they use StreamYard or Restream to broadcast that to essentially syndicate it. No one talks about StreamYard, and I don't know why. Like I think, from am I biased because I use it? I guess sure, but for what we pay compared to like bang for buck, like I think, and Payne can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we pay, and we pay annually, so even it's maybe that's a little bit less, but we pay less for StreamYard than we do our newsletter platform. We pay less for StreamYard than we do to host the podcast. And as far as like bang for buck, like what we like, I know people listen to the podcast. Shout out to all those that listen to this later on Apple or Spotify. We greatly appreciate you. While you're there today, go venture over to YouTube once. I know we give those shout outs, those call outs during the show. But if you're listening later to this recording on Spotify or podcast or Apple Podcast, head over to YouTube and give us a sub over there as well. Those rating reviews are also greatly appreciated. And I need to do a better job of giving our guy, giving those call outs to support our guy Payne, who really does a lot behind the scenes. And speaking of not getting enough credit, but anyways, long story short, I'll end my rant here and then we'll get on to news of the day. It's kind of surprising to me that StreamYard doesn't get more love, because they really are. It's a great streaming platform. It's very easy. I shouldn't say very easy. I realized this after talking to someone recently and helping them start a podcast, that I thought I'd send them like 3 or 4. Here's the 3 or 4 things you know. And it turned into, I kid you not, like a dozen pages in an Apple Notes and a lot of information. A lot of it's just, you learn over the years, different techniques, tactics, software, hardware, things you need. And I don't know if someone was starting today. I mean, wouldn't be a question. I would recommend StreamYard. It's just they make it very easy to stream. They now have these AI clips that's pretty solid after the show. And they just constantly, like, at least on a monthly basis, I feel like there's some new feature. Like they turned on QR codes last month, I think. And then just yesterday or this week, they updated that to where you could update the logo. So instead of having the StreamYard duck, you can put your own custom logos in there. And yeah, if you scan that QR code, it just takes you to Coffee with Captain, where you can drop your email in there and get that weekly newsletter. The other one we will flash up here in a second is the BZ account. If you're not at BZ, we will. I think that's our proper ref link. If not, if you need a new account, we would appreciate using our ref link. While the Coffee with Captain we're not paid for that segment. They BZ absolutely provides they've provided me with a badge, which I appreciate, and they also provide those free claw pools for a Coffee with Captain community member every week, and greatly appreciate that. The ref link also, we get a small sliver of bonus or I think it's a small percentage of volume on anyone that does sign up using our Coffee with Captain link. So if you've not yet signed up for BZ, I will flash up actually I'll go and do it now. I'll flash up the QR code that should take you. Here's one, as I say this, one thing I did just notice is, other than the logo, there's no way to, like, on my end, I see, like, the first one I had up says Coffee with Captain newsletter. This one says create your BZ account today, but that doesn't come through on the QR code. So there's no way to identify it. That'll be maybe some StreamYard feedback for them to for their next update. But that said, let's get into things here. As last cold open topic of the day before we jump into a market update, and we'll talk about the big Yuga news. I said it yesterday, man. I don't think we're in a bear. I'll say that. Are we in a raging bull? Maybe not yet, but I think it's the beginning of one. I think we've absolutely bottomed. And I mean, we were going back and forth a little bit yesterday. I understand the thoughts like, hey, this could be a bull trap, and we're going to go back farther. I have a hard time seeing us going all the way back to 40 or 50K. It's not just NFTs getting, oxygen and a lot of talk in the timeline and floor prices up. It's not just Bitcoin up to 75K, holding that mark. I think we actually touched 76 yesterday. You see these, S&P 500 at all-time highs. Like, that stuff just doesn't happen in the depths of a bear. Not only that, NASDAQ is on a 12-day winning streak. 12 up days in a row. Longest streak in 17 years. Longest winning streak for NASDAQ since 2009. Again, I'm not saying it's a raging bull yet, but you just can't convince me we're in the depths of a bear if NASDAQ's running off 12 consecutive green days in a row. And I think now's the time to start looking for opportunities, looking for spots to make money. The easiest is probably you can find some tea leaves or some insight to which struggling, soon to be insolvent, publicly traded company is getting ready to pivot to AI. I shared yesterday, like the euthanasia roller coaster, where each one gets, is less of a pump than the one prior. First, it was Allbirds. Then yesterday, a company called Museum, MYSEUM. They ran up like 300% after pivoting into, I don't even know what they did previously, but they basically came out and said, hey, we're going to go the AI data center route as well. I definitely think that continues to happen for a while. I think for a while there will be probably a triple-digit pump in their daily stock performance, and then probably a slow grind out. And eventually you're going to see, the eighth one that does it, they're not going to get any pump. There might just lead directly to a sell-off. But for a while, I think that's probably a pretty easy one. You also have the kid that left OpenAI and started a fund with like $250,000 and is in the profit like $1 billion plus this year. Started with Bloom Energy, and he's got several others in his portfolio. it's just like there's pockets, there's opportunities. I'm not trying to be insensitive to anyone who's struggling at the gas pump or the supermarket. Like I get it. I understand there's still a lot of concern, but as I said before, imagine if the uncertainty, the global uncertainty index, we get a little more confidence there. Imagine if inflation reduces or even just stays flat. Imagine if there's a explosion of jobs due to some of this, these new opportunities created with AI. It's also exciting to me that at least half the people think that we're not in a bubble or that we're going to go lower, and meaning like that tells me there's a lot of people that are still on the sidelines. A lot of people have not went full risk on yet, and I'm like, I still have stables to be deployed, but I'm in my bones. I feel it's like, okay, now's the time. It's just I'm being selective on where to make those bets because I think volatility is still very much a reality. The only the one thing outside of like Bitcoin and ETH that I am extremely confident will continue to perform well. Could it dip from here? Yes. But I think if you fast forward a year, I think Hyperliquid is locked in as a major. Like they're getting ready to launch their next move, their next HIP, and it's in the prediction market play. And while talking about that euthanasia roller coaster and each one becoming less than the one prior, will the market get flooded with prediction market protocols and platforms that don't gain any traction or any distribution? Yeah, sure. But Hyperliquid has the distribution. They have the community. They have the cult fan base. They have liquidity, and how they're building and then opening up it's like we saw so many from Coinbase to Robinhood and Phantom Wallet, so many other third parties tap into either Kalshi or Polymarket. And while that works, I think Hyperliquid's as good or better positioned to capitalize on that business as well. And it's a moneymaker. I think I should actually pull the data. I think it was Phantom I saw made over $1.7 million last month just off of their Hyperliquid integration for perps. Like that to me seems like such a, I guess, like I don't want to say low hanging fruit, but it's like they're a winner and they're making money already. I mean, they'll probably make $1 billion in the next 12 months just off their existing business, and they're growing their lines of business. So that's what I have a lot of conviction in. And I think, based on some of the conversation we've had on here and some of the stuff you're seeing in the headlines, it seems like we're getting innovation back. We're having founders both in the NFT space and the DeFi space doing new things, experimenting on chain. And I think that leads to what's next. What's the next Hyperliquid? What's the Hyperliquid of this cycle? There will be something new. I see Brett, maybe it is one of these new Mega ETH apps. I still remain very long Mega ETH. I think we talk about TGEs in 2026. When we started the year coming in, people were sharing threads like 40, 50, 60 TGEs this year. And then the Iran conflict hit. And or even before that, we had fear and greed at 5 in early February. And everyone put everything on pause, rightfully so. Like, I'm glad we didn't have an OpenSea TGE in February. It would have bombed. I'm glad Mega ETH is doing theirs based on KPIs and not just, we mainnet went live, so we got a TGE. Like, I don't know when they're going to do it. When the KPIs hit, but I think it's going to be, I feel very confident it's going to be better than had they done it in mid-February when the market just was very uncertain. As we talked about, a lot of these, both Bitcoin's up 20%, Hyperliquid's up 80% since the Iran conflict broke out. To me, we got momentum heading in a very positive direction. And historically, they say sell in May and go away. Maybe that's the case this year. Maybe we keep this run up and this positive momentum for another month or so, and then it's a quiet summer. I don't know. I don't think it's. Maybe Bitcoin tops, maybe Bitcoin dominance tops, and then over the summer is when the alts run. I could see that happening, but you've got basically every major TradFi money manager, every fund, they're going hard in crypto. Most recently, Charles Schwab. They announced Schwab Crypto, and it's going to be a direct spot Bitcoin and ETH trading for the retail clients. That may not mean a lot to those of us here, anyone listening today. We already have our crypto exposure. We already can. It's very easy for us to get our crypto exposure. But you're talking a $12 trillion brokerage that manages retirement accounts for millions of Americans. Like, a lot of those people don't have exposure to crypto. And it's not just now. I mean, they've been saying you should have 1 to 5% exposure to crypto for a while. It's different to say that and then to say it and make it very easy for your clients to get that exposure. There's so many people that have zero crypto in their portfolio, or maybe they messed around a little bit on Coinbase, but they haven't yet started thinking about their 401ks and their actual retirement brokerage or their actual retirement accounts. Man, when that starts happening, like, it really, supply demand is real. You got the institutions buying, loading up their ETFs. And while I know you could say, oh, it's easy to, anyone could go buy Bitcoin and ETH today. Yeah, sure. I just think there's another layer to this that we haven't hit yet, even though the Charles Schwabs of the world have made these announcements and you can, maybe there's still a few. I think even Vanguard, who originally said we're not going to even let our clients buy the Bitcoin or ETH ETFs, even they've now pivoted. I still think there's a little bit of a lag between that happening and people actually changing their allocations in their 401ks, their retirement plans. CNBC framed this as it was Schwab going directly after Robinhood's crypto business. So I think you got two parts. One, you've got these TradFi funds looking for where can they grow their business offensively. But then I think also from a defensive standpoint, I think a lot of them are realizing, like, okay, the Clarity Act that's coming, allegedly, hopefully we see something approved soon. It's almost like, as much as it's offensive for growth, part of it's got to be defensive. Like, they got to be realizing, like, if we have a client that goes and starts trading crypto on Robinhood or Coinbase, guess what? You can trade your stocks there too. Like, they are at risk of losing the customer. Robinhood and Coinbase and these other, we'll say, crypto native or earlier to crypto, it's like a wedge approach. Like, maybe they have someone who's got they got 7 figures in their Charles Schwab account and in their traditional bucket, and they've started playing around on Robinhood and Coinbase. If that stuff's not offered and they start seeing, oh, this app is actually a much better user interface, this is easier to do, and the fees are less, like, there's a risk there that those that are looking at their retirement accounts end up moving everything over to the Robinhoods and the Coinbases, maybe like a hyperliquid. That's probably taking it one step too far right now, but I just the reality is that the demand is there and the on-ramp just got a lot wider. And while you may not be a customer of Charles Schwab, there's millions of Americans who are. There's $12 trillion of capital there, that the numbers, because there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin, because we have other buying pressure. Like, even if forget 50%, if 10% of that 12 trillion comes into crypto, like, we're so small relative to the rest of the traditional financial markets. Like, 1.2 trillion goes a long way in terms of liquidity and the downstream effect that has, not just Bitcoin and ETH, but I think it works its way down the chain as well. GM to everyone in the chat, appreciate you all. Active crowd this morning from Thomas, Nat, Web3 Warhead, Machiavelli, Mike Campbell. Please do not take any offense to this. I know you're on the show yesterday on the stage and shared your age. So, but when I saw Campbell, it read that as clavicular, who just after overdosing opens a club in Miami at the age of 20. Probably not the best move there, but who am I to judge? Dobbins, GM, Katie, Helpful Soul, Poet Babe, I think that's a new one over in the YouTube streets. Welcome to the Coffee with Captain YouTube channel. Osiris is returning to Monkey. Jambert, Diablito says boots might hit the ground when markets close. We could see some more news. We have been seeing that's kind of been the MO as of late. Is around 4:30, 5:30 on Friday we get some movement. Maybe Diego says he's sidelined. Diego, even if you're sidelined, the one thing you're not going to be sidelined on is BZ. We got a coffee with Captain loaded up for you today. You don't have to jump on stream. If you'd like to, you're more than welcome. Let me know. I can send you the link. If not, I just we'll make sure you're in the chat, and we will we'll time it up well so we know you've got time whether you want to swap or keep whatever you pull. It says there's some info regarding a ZEET campaign, Myriad Markets. I will check that in a second. And yeah, DW says, yeah, kind of joking, but Trump's actions around markets being open, who knows? Yeah, I don't think we get boots on the ground today, just from what I can tell. But yeah, no obligation to jump on stream, but I will just want to make sure you're able to let me know whether you want to swap or keep whatever you end up pulling in the claw from the claw today. Speaking of the claw, it's not just the claw is growing, the claw is evolving. The claw is no longer just on bz.com. The claw is coming in real life. This is in, I should know, I may have to Google though. Suwon is Korea, South Korea. Hong Kong, I don't really know. But the in real life expansion starts now. Who's pulling up? This is someone will have to tell me where. I guess I could just Google Suwon. Yeah, South Korea. Hey, look at that. How about that? I'm better at geography than I thought. That was actually just a pure guess based on the name. But some conference, some crypto event, maybe a collectible event in South Korea. And they introduced a in real life claw machine. People love the claw. I think this is a great play. And I think, speaking of brands that aren't getting enough credit, obviously biased due to our friendship and them supporting the show, but I think it's a great move. I think this is, combining the physical digital realm. Not only have they combined the physical digital realm in their actual platform by taking your collectibles and your graded cards and storing them in a vault and make it easy to sell. You still can redeem them if you want. I think all that is great. But I think this is taking it just one step further, going to these card shows, introducing a real life claw machine. It's such an easy then, okay, what's next? Oh, hey, check out our digital claw machine. Like people just, it's I think a great approach, great way to attack the top of funnel and go to where they're at. And I think this is an easy example, I think, of the next wave of onboarding on chain. It's not just, I don't think there's going to be a time where the masses flood in like they did in the mania of 21, 22. People got burnt, came late, got burnt, there was, too many rugs, too many scams. And then those who didn't, or maybe gave it a second chance during the meme coin mania, same thing. Most people got rinsed. So I don't think there's going to, due to that, I don't know, those black eyes, that some negative connotation there. I don't see a time for a while where we see a flooding of the masses, but the stuff like this onesie twosie, and it's not even onesie twosie, like it could be by the hundreds or the thousands of people have an interaction. It's positive and they want to learn more. They have a chance to talk with the team there and find out what BZ is. And they go online and next thing you know, they've got a wallet that's abstracted and it's easy to use. The tech is friendly. Like, I think this is very much so to me a clear path to onboarding the next wave of users. And yeah, I think exciting stuff. We got about a half hour before our guest joins. I think he's going to be able to join us. I know we had a lot going on and I think some travel as well. But yes, there was a so catching up here. Let's just do this. We're gonna do a quick market update. We'll do our coffee with Captain, and then we will talk. We will talk about the big news coming out of Yuga. I'm not going to talk about Clavicular's Club. You can find that on the internet elsewhere if you want, but I don't. It's sad. Let's knock out a quick market update. Then we'll do coffee with Captain, and then we'll come back to the Yuga news. I know there's some thoughts and comments on that, and then we will. Either way, if OSF is still able to join us, we will roll into conversation regarding Rekt and Rekt Energy. If not, we will continue the Yuga conversation, which DeFi Addict adds. Yeah, when Figgy was on our show last, I was thinking to myself that he sounds like a CEO. Come to find out, I think he was a CEO when he was on the show last. That was per his announcement yesterday. Took on the role a few weeks ago. They just made the official announcement yesterday publicly. But yeah, I think when he joined us, I did not know that until after the fact. But yeah, I think he was actually had already taken on the CEO reins. But let's do this market update. This is brought to you by Awaken Tax. Even though we passed the deadline, several of you probably had to file an extension because you delayed reconciling your crypto transactions, and you need help. We have the solution for you. Head to awaken.tax and use code coffee50 or return coffee50 if you're a returning user. You'll save $50 off your tax prep software. It's made by crypto natives for the crypto market, and they continually update it. You get free support on your 1099 DA form that you would have gotten from Kraken or Coinbase. You don't even need the subscription, but it really is first-in-class crypto software, and will be a big help. If you're one of those that had to file that extension because you need some more time, head to awaken.tax, use code coffee50 or return coffee50 to save $50. This is the Daily Market Update brought to you by Awaken Tax.
It's market update time. Let's set the play. Powered by Awaken, the smart tax way. From crypto flips to DeFi stacks. They keep it clean. Got your back. Grab your coffee. Let's break it down. Daily update right now.
Starting with, I'm just going to start with the NASDAQ. I just mentioned it. And here's the chart. If you didn't believe me, the NASDAQ trades green 12 straight days, the longest winning streak in nearly 17 years. I think it was July of 2009. And it is, things can't go up only forever, but 12 days in a row, it had gotten down to sub 21,000, already back up to 24K, while the S&P 500 hits an all-time high. Looking at crypto, we have another green day pretty much across the board. Tron slightly down, Hyperliquid slightly down 2.6%, but still up 6% on the week. The rest, Bitcoin up 1.51%. Looks like it's going to hit 76K again. I think that 75K was a key price. But going to be interesting to see if we get some Friday afternoon, evening news and what transpires over the weekend. ETH up almost 1%, up 6% on the week. XRP up 2%, up 7.5% on the week. BNB up almost 2%, up 5% on the week. Solana up 3.5%, up 5% on the week. Tron, as I mentioned, down slightly, but up 1.5% on the week. Doge down or up 2.7%. Hyperliquid, as we mentioned, down 2.73, but up 6% on the week. And it continues just greens as you scroll down the list. A lot of green across the board. Another one in the news, ApeCoin back up over 10 cents following the big leadership moves there from Yuga. Heading over to NFTs, we have Apes up 2.4% to 6.5. Also with that was several Grails sold way above floor. People really making some moves. Punks up 3.5%, big move for them. They're now 26.9. Hypers flat, basically just hanging on to that 400 hype level. Pudgy's up 0.5% to 4.12. Mutants back up over an ETH again, 1.02. They're up almost 3% on the day. Take My Muffin. This is a new one. Let's double click, see what this is about. New mint, it appears. Minted in March. So unrevealed. Kind of weird. Do your own research. Not familiar with it. I have no idea what it is, but a little bit of volume. Not pumping a ton, but it's doing enough volume to, and it's on the OpenSea main page, at least the preview. If anyone knows anything about that, let me know. I have first time seeing it for me. Moonbird's up 4% to 8.85. Milady's up 2% to 1.28. Again, keep in mind, Green Day in crypto and Green Day in NFTs been around. That doesn't happen often. Sometimes they will trade inverted as ETH runs up, the NFTs will dip. When they both go up in lockstep, that idea of a levered bet on ETH. I made too much of that levered bet on ETH last cycle, but that's the thesis is floors hold in the native currency, and ETH pumps, things can get exciting pretty quickly. Normies down 11% to 0.11. Quirkies holding strong at 1.13. Little Pudgies 0.43, basically flat. Doodles down 1%, 0.46. Gimbos up another 25% to 22.99. That's ape pricing. VFriends up 5% to 1.4. Meebits down slightly to 0.3. Mainland Captains up 17% to 0.23. Did we get some news or art coming from Captains? Still unrevealed. So curious what led to that pump, but maybe it's been a while since we've had Ray on the show. Maybe we look to get Ray on here in the future and see what is the latest at Memeland. Good Vibes Club up 1.5% to 0.64, and again, pretty Green Day. A lot to get excited about, whether you're holding the fungible variety or the non-fungible variety. Good day once again. And that's our daily market update brought to you by Awaken Tax. Again, awaken.tax. Use code coffee50 or return coffee50 to save $50 off your tax prep software. That said, the big news, as we, per the title and we talked about, you probably saw a, we'll start with the Beeple and then we'll work backwards. But Beeple brings out Return to the Monkey, following the news yesterday where Figgy, who we had on here a couple weeks ago, has just stepped into the CEO role at Yuga Labs, with Garga, the founder and prior CEO, moving into a chairman role, and will focus on creative efforts and continue to build out other side. If you didn't see it, not only was did we get an ape featured in the Beeple. If you zoom in, I don't know if it probably won't zoom in. Yeah, it's not going to let me. You can see there's, I don't know, half a dozen stickers on there. Our guy Baron von Hustle, Swicky, and several others got a sticker of their ape featured in a Beeple. Pretty cool. People also had, that's pretty good. That's good, Riss. People also had this to say, called it. Massive congrats to Figgy as the new CEO of Yuga. Anyone who knows him knows how insanely hardworking and driven he is, and how lucky we are to have him in the space. I've worked with him for 15 years, well before Web3. People worked for Figgy. I don't know if you knew that. Like, Beeple was one of Figgy's employees in his Web2 agency, and kind of brought each other into Web3. They started 10K ETF together, and ultimately, which was acquired by Yuga and then spun back off. But he goes on to say, his ability to calmly dissect a problem and come up with a plan to tackle it is insanely inspiring. He was extremely instrumental in both the building of the studio as well as Human One. He truly cares about building dope shit, and I can think of no one better to lead Yuga. And he shared a screenshot of his from 2012 to Gordon and Garga, and says, so this is, I'm guessing, shortly after they acquired 10K TF, says, so honored to be part of this, excited for what's next. Also going to call it here now, you promote Figgy to CEO in 6 months. So he was just early. He was correct, albeit little off on the timing. But yeah, Figgy, a lot of people may not be aware of his background. I mean, many were probably aware that he was him and people were behind 10K TF and did a lot in the space. And Diablo no. Figgy would have had nothing to do with, I shouldn't say nothing. I wasn't involved with Simple Farmer moving on. Two separate entities there, ApeCo and Yuga, not the same entity, albeit, close, very close relationship to two separate entities for all intents and purposes. But Figgy was, I'm going to read a little bit of his background because I won't do it justice if I do it just off memory. So he recently was Yuga's chief product officer after that 10KTF acquisition. Figgy, one of the more interesting execs in all of Web3, and you talk about Web3 credentials and background here, as well as what they did prior to their Web3 and crypto journey. Before crypto, he founded Possible. Possible was a large-scale creative design production company that was responsible for over 200 arena and stadium productions. Think about that. 200 arena and stadium productions. And then, before I read the rest of this, think about 200 stadium and arena productions, the contacts, the relationships that come with that. What might that lead to when you start thinking about the Port Yacht Club and in real life? And you saw what they did last year at ComplexCon. You saw what they're doing this weekend with Snoop at his compound in Inglewood. They just yesterday announced 100 other deeds and ape holders are going to get to go to a fun festival in Ibiza. Like, the connections and relationships are very real. If you watch the VMAs, the Billboard Music Awards, Coachella, the Super Bowl halftime show, in the last decade, you've likely seen Figgy's work. They've produced shows for Lady Gaga, Paul McCartney, Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, Childish Gambino. At that scale, you learn how to build immersive experiences in front of millions of people. I think back to Ape Fest last year in Vegas and the immersive other side room, I don't know what else to call it, was like, I can't think of anything else like even remotely close to describe it to that I've experienced in crypto and Web3. Like, it's something you would expect to see at one of those other major events. Like, it was just a really cool, it was where, like, if you saw like the keynote that Garga talked at Ape Fest, that was in this room and like completely immersed, like all around, screens all around the room. It was like you were in other side physically. It was really cool. Anyways, incredible background. When in 2021, he pivoted hard into Web3. This was shortly after, so Beeple was working for him at Possible. Beeple goes, been doing the daily every day for years. He has his big breakout moment, the $69 million sale. And I think that's probably what I will ask him next time we have him on the show. But I think that's when Figgy's like, oh, I should probably look at this crypto, this Web3 stuff a little harder. He formed WeKnew, which was an NFT studio that built luxury brand partnerships. He was responsible for bringing in to crypto Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Puma, Wimbledon, Playboy, as well. And then that came from WeKnew, was born 10KTF. And I know some didn't have the greatest bag experience with 10KTF. It ran up, it ripped up during the mania, and then as many, it kind of crashed and came down. And some people that were very invested ended up not doing well financially. I don't think I made money on that, but I also didn't lose a ton of money. If Dow Jones out there, I saw your nails gift and I actually laughed out loud. If you know, you know. But it was really creative. It was original. We talk about experimenting on chain and bringing new stuff to market. Like, this was one of the first third-party airdrops we got for holding an ape, which you could go get a pair of custom digital sneakers. We had no idea what they were. We had no idea what it would lead to. We just knew it was crafted gear by 10KTF. We didn't know who at the time. We didn't know who 10KTF was. We had no idea that Figgy and Beeple were the two co-founders. But it was a lot of fun. Not only was it a lot of fun, maybe at its peak, one of the most active, engaged communities in all of crypto. Every Thursday, they'd have a get together. I think it was a space. Not exactly sure where. Maybe it was Discord. Anyways, it was just constantly. It was really deep community storytelling and lore. And again, I know financially some didn't play out as all expected, but it was creative. It was a lot of new stuff. It was very innovative. And I I don't know, maybe someday these sneakers become a thing in other side. Maybe not. I don't really care. It's something they're not leaving my vault. It's part of the journey. I'm gonna go see when they actually minted. It was September 18th of 2021. So timeline wise, Apes minted out April 30th. Mint out morning to May 1st. And then a few months later, this is before Ape Fest, is when he dropped these sneakers. It's just like there's so much creativity that came out of 10KTF. I think regardless whether you're involved and you had some wins, or you're involved and you took some L's, or you weren't involved, I think definitely deserves some credit for doing new things, experimenting on chain, and the deep lore and storytelling was pretty impressive. He's won an Emmy. I mean, I don't know how many people in crypto and Web3 can have an Emmy on their on their shelf behind him. Anyways, deep roots in entertainment, production, and digital culture. And I think while other side has been his focus and will continue to be a big focus, he's been pretty explicit in this, that making other side the premier social platform, combining digital assets and real community. They also acquired the Unreal Engine creator firm, or the platform rather, from Improbable, to really doubling down on what they're building. I am really excited about the move. Love Garga, always will. I mean, we'll always be forever grateful for Garga and Gordon and doing what they did. That said, I think moving into a chairman role and focusing on the creativity elements and things that he really enjoys is a great seat for Garga, and well deserved. I have much respect for him coming back in and taking over the CEO reins after some of the high paid executives they brought in didn't prove to not be necessarily the right fit. But I always viewed it as, I didn't know when, it was going to be 6 months or 3 months or 6 months or a year or 3 years. I fully expected at some point Garga would be relinquishing the reins to another CEO, and I'm extremely happy that it was Figgy and not another outsider that's going to spend the next 2 or 3 years figuring out crypto and Web3 and the culture here. Zane adds the early 10K ETF days were really fun, and there was opportunities to make incredible returns as well. There was, some massive run-ups across many of those. From first started with the shoes, and we had flamethrowers and backpacks and all kinds of gear. It was really cool, albeit I just think it was maybe too early. I wonder how things play out differently had like other side been where it is today, been back then, and you start seeing all these assets in other side. Maybe it's the same financial outcome. Maybe it plays out differently. I don't know, but the creativity was definitely there. The community was definitely there. And that's what gets me excited personally, as I'm excited for the community element, right? Like you heard me on the show. It's probably about a month ago. I was sharing some feedback, some constructive feedback to Yuga indirectly. And I said I would reach out to the team afterwards. I didn't think I was, wasn't anything secret. And I would have shared it to him directly. I didn't have to. Figure he reached out to me, heard the show, listened in, and then came on the show, I think the following week, maybe 2 weeks later. Acknowledged that, there's some things they could do to communicate better across multiple channels. They do have the weekly at the Clubhouse, which is in the other sides and hosted in a bubble, but it also does stream on X. They simulcast it here on X video. That recording's available, but even still acknowledge, there's more from a comm standpoint, not just for other side, but also for the club. What does the Bored Ape Yacht Club mean? Someone was asking earlier this morning, why, it seems like a, decent entry at around an ETH for a mutant. Why should I buy a mutant? What do I need a mutant for? Depends. What are you looking to do in your crypto journey, in your Web3 journey? If it is, if community is important to you, if the in real life meetups are important, I think that's something that to me seems like a big refocus here in the last 3 weeks or so. I'm not saying this happened because I vented on the show or kind of ranted about, where's the club? Like they've been shipping consistently updates weekly, if not daily sometimes, on the other side, but we hadn't really had a big update for the rest of the Board Ape Yacht Club that wasn't, in other side, or maybe you were and you still wanted to, what's going on with the club, the clubhouse, etc. It's been a barrage, not only updates, but actual activations from, I've just rattled off two, be it the Inglewood meetup at Club's compound, Snoop's compound. In addition to that, they've got the activation in Ibiza, but far beyond that, like there's dozens of meetups taking place across the globe. That a lot of them, yes, they are community led, from Miami to Tampa. We've got, I think Miami is tonight actually. Tampa, led by Laura, and I think Profits are organizing a meetup for club members in Miami. Tomorrow, Ape Whale has organized a paintball for those in the Tampa area, and that's two of dozens across the globe. And I think so. It's like, you don't have to go to these in real life events, but there's opportunities regionally across the planet in addition to Ape Fest once a year. There's a lot of these. The clubhouse is going to launch in Miami, yes, but they're showing what we're seeing here of last month is that it's not just going to be at the clubhouse in Miami. There's going to be opportunities to network in a social club that, yes, it's digital in nature, it's crypto native, but they're taking that and bringing it into real life. And I think, again, I said it before, I am biased, yes, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find another social club where you have founders, creatives, people who've had traditional success, in from corporate America to their own startups to, the crypto natives of the world. I mean, that's got, quite literally billionaires in the club. That's not just in the club, but extremely active. I mean, Adam posts about Yuga in the club, Adam Weitzman, almost on a daily basis, if not a daily basis. And is everyone a billionaire? No, obviously not. But I don't know as if there's too many other quote unquote social clubs where you have such a diverse group of members that have had success. It's a great networking opportunity, and you can get in for $2,200 one-time fee. We've showed just Miami members, or Miami social clubs, and it's like most of them are double that as an initiation fee, and then you're paying another $5 to $25,000 a year in annual dues. So for a one-time admission, this pass, this idea of a lifetime pass utility from NFTs, I think not only is it exciting for club members, I think utility is important. Utility matters. There was conversation, blockchain tech's not going anywhere. You could go away tomorrow and blockchain's not going anywhere. That train's left the station. I will say, from the NFT PFP arena and what a digital physical social club could be, whether you care about anyone in the club or you care about Yuga or not, I think it's in your best interest to be rooting. Like if Yuga does well, it bodes well for the rest of the crypto natives, in my opinion. And I think a good can the space, yes, the space, obviously blockchain tech isn't going anywhere, crypto's not going anywhere, but the specific to NFTs as a sector, as far as not just art, but utility beyond just a one-time ticket, I do think it's benefits. It's like rising tide lifts all type example. I saw Law jumped up on stage. Law, one of the dynamic duo behind Welcome Apes, far much more than that. But every time I see him or Dort, I gotta give some flowers for all that they're doing with Welcome Apes. I think, again, biased, but I think it's the best grassroots community initiative in all of the NFT PFP world, and appreciate all that you do. And I think a great example of, speaking of the networking and the quality members in the club, Law and Dort, Marav, everyone else over there at Welcome Apes is a great example of that. Law, GM, what thoughts on this move with Garga and Figgy, or anything else? If anything else brought you up this morning, feel free to take it whichever direction you'd like.
Yeah.
GM.
Yo, I came up here because you were up here all by yourself, and I thought I'd jump up. And out of all the announcements and things like talked about yesterday, something that I can't stop thinking about is Garga revealed his age yesterday. Did you catch that?
I did not catch it. I heard people talking about it though.
So Garga's 36 years old, and I don't know about you, dude, but like sometimes I'd be watching sports and I'd be like, I'm like, that kid's 18 years old on the court, and it's like a reverse effect for Garga, and it's like Garga's fucking 36 years old. I thought he was a little bit older. I bumped into him at A-Fest, got to meet him personally, but yeah, 36 years old.
Yeah, makes me I don't know how that makes me feel actually. As far as I turned 46 in a few months. So yeah, I don't know how that makes me feel. I got to put some more thought to it.
Yeah, I'll be 37 at the end of the year, so me and Garga are the same age.
That's the Cool Kids Club, the 36, the youngins.
The unks.
And yes, NFTs, the technology, is not going to go anywhere if Yuga closes up shop tomorrow. I go Google NFTs. Say you apes are still the face of NFTs, whether you like it or not. Like it is. And you've got one of the most famous entertainers in the world, Snoop Dogg, has built multiple businesses around his ape IP. He's hosting these apes at I know we can get critical at times. It's easy to take shots at those at the top. No one's done this yet. Yes, have others created derivatives and got influential people to rock their PFPs on X? Yeah, sure. A lot of those are paid campaigns, or hey, we'll give you this in exchange for rocking our PFP. It's like the next layer up of KOLs. These are people that, and I also understand a lot of them got their apes gifted to them, or it was part of a marketing deal with MoonPay back in the day. Several others bought their apes and they haven't sold them, and some have been active, some have built with it. Like Snoop is hosting apes at his compound. Like you don't have to be into Snoop's music, you don't have to be into his culture, but I don't know how you don't acknowledge that's pretty cool. And I think it's again talking about rising tide lifts all. Many attempted to do this route, many attempted to copy pasta the roadmap, and a lot of them aren't here anymore. They've continued to move on, and I remain very optimistic and bullish on the clubhouse and what that I don't know what to say when Garga is 36. I don't know how that makes me feel, Payne, but
he's killing it, dude, for a 36-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly. How old is Gordon? Do we know?
Man, I gotta imagine he'd probably be around the same.
Yeah, I guess. Interesting. Anyways, let's do this. I see we're a couple minutes till 9. We've got our special guest of the day joining us here soon. Do me a favor, give us some extra love on the space. Let's get this thing warmed up for OSF joining us here in a few minutes. We're going to do a quick coffee with Captain for Diego. Diego, give me a thumbs up or just give me a comment in the chat. Let me know you're still there. I know you're at work, but let me know you're still there so you can see. Let me know whether you want to swap or keep the your whatever you pull in the claw machine, and we will do this claw pull. If we need to come back do it later, we can. But as long as you're available to give me a yay or nay, we'll do that right now, and then we'll roll into our guest of the day. But yeah, Diego, if you're out there, if you can hear this, give me some sort of indication that you are able to swap, or if you want to vault it, we'll get it sent over to you just after the show. But while we're at it, that QR code you see on the screen, that will take you to Beezy. Go get your Beezy account set up. Coffee with Captain, one of our fan favorites here on the show. And yep, he's there. So Diego, you'll have I think 15 seconds, maybe it's a little longer than that now to decide. But let's do a proper play-in. We'll go Coffee with Captain, and Diego's going to pull a grail this morning. This is Coffee with Captain, brought to you by Beezy.
Coffee with Captain. Give that claw a spin. Roll to grills from BC. Prizes within. Mystery and magic. Where to begin? Coffee with Captain. It's your time to win.
All right, time for our favorite segment. This is Coffee with Captain, brought to you by BZ. We're going to do a silver TCG claw machine for our guy, Diego, all-time great, one of our favorite, many favorites in the chat, many favorite community members. Diego, one of the greats, always supporting us in all the chats, actually, but in particular, just a very active, valuable community member, greatly appreciated, and very much so deserving of this claw pull today. So let me get the code applied. There we go. It is in, and we will look. Let's first look at the Grail item. You potentially pull a $1,300 card from the silver machine here. We've got this might be my week Zapdos. I think I got that one right. My the reoccurring bit of me pronouncing Pokemon characters. Diego, it's a first edition Zapdos Holo PSA 8 that trades for $1,300. You've got several others above that $300-$400 mark. The second grail there is a Pokemon Mew in Charmander. I need educated on what makes this Charmander a Mew edition. Anyways, it's a Gem Mint 10, and then another a Groudon is also a Gem Mint 10 that goes for $462. So and it looks like based on recent polls, we're due for a grail. I don't see any. You got to go ways to see 1 over 100. So this is it's Diego's time. We're gonna pull that. Zapdos here for Diego this morning. He also would take an Eevee and a few others he's a fan of. This is Coffee with Captain. Hey, $32 is the swap value. It's a 2022 Japanese Dark Phantasma Misfortune Sisters. Diego, do you want to swap this for the $32? Be like 31 and some change after the small fees, or do you want to vault this? It's a pristine 10 from graded by CGC Misfortune Sisters Pokemon from the Dark Phantasma. I don't know your thoughts on this. Let me know in the chat if this is a one you're going to vault or if you want to swap. Didn't get his Eevee or Gengar or Dragonite, but he says vault it. There you go. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you, sir. Do me a favor, DM me your wallet address, your BZ wallet address, and we'll get that sent over to you as soon as we get off the show. And thank you, as always, for all the support and being such a valued community member here on Coffee with Captain. Well deserved. And shout out to BZ for providing that Coffee with Captain claw pull this Friday. That said, without further ado, I want to bring in OSF here. Always a pleasure to speak to OSF. And while I am caffeinated, I had to do I got my second dose of Rekt Energy this morning to get, and I skipped on the second cup of coffee. We're going to go right into the Rekt Energy. OSF, it's been a while. I know you've been super busy. Greatly appreciate your time this morning. I saw you've been out you put the intern hat on yesterday with one of your recent launches. So thanks so much for joining us. GM, and I shouldn't assume everyone is well aware of you and your story at this point, but by way of introduction, is there anything that you wanted to kind of hit on in terms of your journey, your story, before we jump into all things Rekt Energy and everything else you got going on?
Yeah, nothing special to add, really. It's a pleasure to be back on the show. I'm co-founder and CEO of Rekt Brands. We have Rekt Drinks, which is our main product. We just launched Rekt Energy Powders, which you can buy on Amazon now. And obviously we have Rekt Coin, which is the brand coin that underpins everything. So hopefully that's enough of an introduction.
Perfect. No, appreciate it. We were talking yesterday. I mean, this Yuga news and Gargamune to chairman and Figgy stepping into the CEO role. We were talking about, I don't know, someone brought up like your favorite memories from crypto or the club. And we were talking about Midnight. And I mentioned, I didn't know if I said, I know you and Mando how 80-ish apes and famously sold, had a nice exit on those. Did you mint maybe not mint all those, but were you minting on Midnight, or did you pick those up early on the secondary market? Remind me on how you came in to accumulate all those apes. Was it minting or shortly after mint, or both?
Yeah, it was. I actually minted 150, and on midnight. While I was drunk, and I then sold them all way too early. Mando actually told me to sell them all, funnily enough, and so I did. And then they rallied. They went to like 2 or 3 or something, and he was like, "Oh, I think we should buy 8." And I was like, "Nah, just you can't make me do this." But he ended up buying about 72, and we ended up kind of combining our NFT portfolios together. So we ended up co-owning those apes, and yeah, we kept them for a couple of years, I guess. Like we held them through ApeCoin airdrop, the other side airdrop, and then obviously eventually we sold them on Blur. But I remember speaking to. We had a call with Gordon and Gaga after we bought them and before we quit our old jobs as well. And I just
You guys
remember,
worked together, right? You worked together prior to.
yeah, we worked together. Yeah, I just remember being just so crazy. Like, they were almost like what as much as what the fuck as we were. We're just like, this is just insane. But I think speaking to them, and it wasn't necessarily clear what plans they had at that point in time. You could see they were just smart guys. I have a lot of respect for those guys. Apes definitely caught the wave of the NFT market and this great big crypto rise, but those guys were very smart and I think steered it we're very strong at steering the energy of the community into a way that it was very powerful and effective. So a lot of I'll always have a lot of respect for those guys, and Bored Apes, like many people, changed my life really. So I'm always going to have appreciation for that.
Yeah, likewise. How did you find minting 150? How did you find out about them? It was 5 years ago today is when they sent out the first, I guess, the teaser, like retweet this to get a chance to win an ape. And then I think they started minting on the 20th and went 10 days, and then that midnight, and the rest is history. But how did you come across it? Was it an alpha chat, or how did you find out about them even minting?
I just saw it on X. I think it and back then you just mint random stuff, right? So that's what I did. And then I could see it started getting a lot of traction on Twitter. It was Twitter at the time. And it was one of those things where I think we've all forgotten this feeling, but you see something start to mint out very, very fast. And then you're like, man, this is going to mint out and it's going to be higher once it's minted out because everyone wants to buy it. It was like that. So I think that's what gave me the confidence to mint 150. It was like, I just pure luck, it's absolute luck. I just happened to be there at the right place at the right time when I could see the momentum was building quite substantially. And I thought, okay, worst case scenario, I'm going to mint as many as I can. I'm going to at least 2x or 3x what I have and be able to flip them afterwards. So it was, it was definitely just luck. It was a lot of luck, right place, right time. And also, the mint website, it was done very professionally. It was the first thing that I think marketed itself as a club. Not many things had done that before. And it was something that I just understood. So it did feel like there was, optically, it felt like there was something a bit different or special about it compared to the other stuff we'd seen to that point in time.
Yep. I agree. Similar. I mean, not nearly the scale, but I found Top Shot and then Zed Run, and a lot of people in that community started talking about it. I saw the timeline and like, yeah, this seems cool. It's different, right? It was a club. Like while we had, even in Zed, there was a lot of like sub communities and sub discords, and you could see the communities forming, but no brand or project had introduced that. And it's like, yes, sounds neat. I minted one the night of the 30th. It was like 600 something. And I go to bed. I'm like, I'll pay attention to this, maybe mint a few more over the next couple of weeks. And then my dog wakes me up like 4 a.m. I go outside and just take him to the bathroom, and I open up my phone, and that Discord is the last thing I had open. And it was probably you in there, and it was Pranksy and Jimmy and Blau, and it was like complete pandemonium. And I was like, what? This is never seen. I mean, we had the top shot mania already, and things were popping off with that, but never had seen anything like that. And just like you said, like you could tell there was very much some momentum, and minted a few more, wiped out the hot wallet, including this, and you ended up getting this PFP and others. But that was just, like I said, kind of saw it, and you could know something was different, but luck in terms of, at that point, waking up at 4 a.m. and seeing that pandemonium. But yeah, it didn't, needless to say, it did not last a couple more weeks. It minted out within hours, and quite the run. But congrats on the foresight and the great trade. And we've shared here on the show at probably the last visits, like you guys went on to start even before, the Rekt guy met. You had the Degens community and started in the media brand and lean. Many of us, I think, took inspiration from that community, that club approach, and kind of formalized our communities. Like a Discord went from a sub community of something like Bored Ape Yacht Club to our own individual brands, whether it was Degens, which then from there came those Rekt guy NFTs, and not to take the whole story from you, but it's been fun to follow along. And I think as I still hold a Grail Rekt guy that's vaulted and it'll never leave, because it's part of my journey. It's part of like when I look back at like from 21, the last 5 years, there's certain things that, forgetting price points or any financial gains, just like played a key role in my journey and in the experiences and what this space could bring. And you talk about the community and the club. And I think that's one of the things that, while I know Rekt Energy and Rekt Brands gets a lot of credit for the passionate, loyal community, for the credit you get, I don't think it's enough. Like, it's really, like, you talk about OGs, like I know there's individuals in there that have rocked that Rekt guy PFP from Mint. And, I put out a post about Rekt Energy. I'm going to get 15 to 20 retweets from diehard Rekt community members, and the brand ambassadorship that you've been able to build. Yeah, is there a brand coin tie-in? We'll talk about that, how easy the claim was here in a minute. But really, the brand ambassadorship, that idea of, you talk about, a next gen loyalty program or loyalty rewards program on chain. Yeah, the coin matters, but I think even more powerful and more impactful than the coin is, you talk about like an NPS score. Like, you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of members in that community that they're 10 out of 10. Like, they are absolutely promoters of the brand, promoters of you and Mando and Tabs. And that, to me, is what got me so excited about the NFT space, about the Web3 space. I think just a couple weeks after the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I sent out a tweet and said, I feel like I just joined a startup with like 2,500 of my closest friends who I haven't even met yet. And you all have carried that forward with the brand and the businesses you built, and really impressive. And yeah, just some flowers on that, because I don't think you get enough credit for the Rabid community. You Rabid in a positive way, like real brand ambassadors that I would think a lot of much larger brands, traditional, whether drink brands or any brand for that matter, would kill to have thousands of raving fans like that at the stage you are. And I really think that's part of the secret sauce with what you all have built. And it's something that gets me so excited to build in this space. Is I don't think you can do this elsewhere. I don't know exactly how to describe it. Anything I guess you would add to that, or is there some secret sauce there that it's not clicking for me? Is it just the combination of many things? And I guess you're a lot of those members of your community, they know how hard you work, they know what you're about. And it's just like that. Is it as simple as like the 10,000 true fans model, or is there more to it?
I think any success of any NFT project, and not only NFT project, also crypto project, comes from a strong community. Like, you can have a flash in the pan without a community, and there are many of those. There are many of these pump and dump type things, and they go away. But to have something that's successful over a sustained period of time requires community, because it requires people to believe and back what you're doing, and create a platform for you to build on. So for us, it's everything. And I think when we started, Rekt Guy was a free mint. We didn't have any products we were selling. We didn't really even have a roadmap. We just kind of, as things grew along the way, we decided to add new things into the mix, which ended up being successful. So for us, it was sort of like the reason why it's worked. And the whole idea of Rekt drinks and consume to earn or drink to earn, we're not the first consume to earn project, right? Many of them have failed in the past. Almost all of them have failed in the past. And the only reason why I think it worked for us is because we had built a real community before we had launched that. So it wasn't like when we launched Redcoin eventually, it wasn't like, oh, let me come in, buy this drink, sell the coin, make some money and move on to the next thing, right? It was like everyone in our community wanted to actually own it, because that's part of our identity now. It's part of our personality. It's part of like what people believe in. And that existed and was created and fostered over a period of time before we launched our token. And I think that was a very important step in our journey. But yeah, again, this is something that the apes have done incredibly well, something that Pudgy Penguins have done incredibly well. There are people for everything apes have gone through, right? The highs and the lows. You're still wearing a BAYC hoodie, right? I still see people wearing stuff all the time and people championing it regardless of the price. And that's when you know you have a real diehard community behind it. And that's when you know what you're doing has a lot of value, because those things will carry forwards over longer periods of time and then build again slowly. So it's a very important thing for us. And I think I just feel quite grateful that we have an amazing community that doesn't typically complain or expect things of us. But I think that respect goes hand in hand. People know that I have their best interest at hand. And I'm always working as hard as I can on it. And as a result of that, as a result of me showing respect to my community, I get that respect back from people. And I think that's a relationship we fostered over this time. So
absolutely. And I think from my perspective, you really haven't wavered. I mean, I'm sure there's ups and downs. I'm sure there's a roller coaster, not just in crypto, but anytime you're an entrepreneur building a startup. But it's like you lead the same, whether price of the token or the NFTs or the market, Bitcoin's at an all-time high, or we're in the depths of a bear. You just haven't wavered. You have a very stoic approach to leadership, and I think the community sees that. They recognize that, and while many have been along for the ride, I think it has to catch the attention of others, because it is very uncommon in crypto. Too many. I'm not taking shots at any others, but a lot of founders, a lot of teams, they kind of wear their emotions on their sleeve, and when markets are down, a lot of them, they just go quiet. Like it's not that they're out there complaining, oh, we're going to zero. It's just you don't hear from them, and they could be building. It's just like to do it in public and to continue to not waver. I guess any advice on that front for others that might be trying to deal with building on chain or building in the crypto native environment and having to deal with the ups and downs of the market?
It's human nature to go quiet and freeze when prices go lower. Whether you're a trader and you have lost a lot of money, whether you're a project founder and you're suddenly up against it, it's human nature to do that. And I used to be a trader at an investment bank for about 10 years before this. And I remember the first time I lost loads of money, and you freeze. I kind of froze, and I was like, fuck, like, what do I do? And it's almost like you just want to go home, or you just don't want to do anything, right? So it's very human nature to feel that. And I literally remember my boss next to me at the time was like, "You just gonna fucking sit there, or are you gonna try and make it back?" I was like, "Fuck, okay, let me, And then, I had many instances of having big wins and also losing a lot of money in that time. But every time I lost money in that job, I was like, okay, I've lost money because something has become very volatile. That's created a trading opportunity, and if I work really hard, I can make it all back." And I always did. And so I just got very conditioned towards having a not a positive, but like a very strong reaction to losing money or something like that. And it's also sort of like the same thing. I do a lot of boxing. When you get punched in the face, what are you going to do? You're just going to go down and quiet, or are you going to punch back? Right? You have to punch back, otherwise the guy's going to smell the fear and come at you hard and finish you off. So these are all the same concepts, and I just feel like I've been through this so many times in my life, where when I'm now at this stage of being a project founder and stuff's down and stuff nukes, and that will happen. Crypto is a very, very volatile industry. Sometimes things are out of your control. People may blame you for things, but sometimes things are genuinely out of your control. But and we've had our fair share of crashes. When that happens, the way I see it is you have two options. You want to, I think I tweeted about this a few weeks or months ago, but you can either just sit there with your dick in your hands, excuse my language, or you can, get back up and try and fucking do something about it and push back. And so my reaction is always going to be, okay, let's see what we can do here. Let's see how we can convert this into an opportunity. First and foremost, let me be vocal. Let me be loud. Let me say what I'm thinking. Let me discuss what's happened. If it's something that's negative that's happened, let me tell people our action points. Let me tell people my thought process, because that way, even if something negative has happened, people are like, okay, this guy's on it. This guy's doing something about it. There's a plan here, or at least they're trying to formulate a plan, and that's all you need. That's all people need to hear. People don't hear anything. They're like, okay, what the fuck is going on? I have no idea. Are these guys doing anything? Are these guys alive? Like, it's really, really bad to have that period of silence. And, I see projects which have extended periods of silence. And as each day goes by and you haven't said something, that gets worse. And that's how people lose hope, lose faith, and drop off. So if your project gets nuked or if the crypto market goes lower or whatever happens, it's not always your fault. And even if it is your fault, shit happens, and it's just about owning up to it. And if you really care about what you're doing, it's about being vocal. So I think if anyone feels in that position where they're like, oh, I'm scared to go into my Discord because everyone's going to yell at me, or I don't want to open up X because my thing's down 90% or whatever, we're down. Rekt is down 90%. Rekt is literally down 90% from the highs. But you see very few people in our community or myself feeling down about it, right? Because we just keep going, we just keep pushing, and we're just vocal every single day. And it is a grind. Things have been down only for about 9 months, but sometimes it feels like, it's another day where it's down. I have to come in and put on a brave face and fucking do it. But that's what you've got to do. If you're not doing that, you're not differentiating yourself from the other thousands, millions of coins and projects, right? And only the top 1% or the top 0.5% or the top 0.1% are going to make it. And those guys that make it are the ones who are doing this every single day. And that's going to be us. That's always going to be us. And we're always going to show up regardless of what happens. And that's just conditioned into me, basically.
It's awesome. Well, respect. And I think here we often talk about, sell rips and buy dips. And like the trading's just one element. Like you said something there that resonated with me, where you're like, talk about, getting up after an L, and whether it was in your trading career prior to this or here, you get dealt an L, and it's like usually that's because of some sort of volatility. Something's at play, that other opportunities are unveiled, but most people they get hung up in the L, or they're down, or they're feeling sorry for themselves, and they got blinders on and they're closed off to these other opportunities. Has there been anything that whether it was during the depths of the bear, or 1010, or anything that has been an L in, say, crypto, whether macro or specific to Rekt Brands, that shortly after you found a big win, shortly after, whether it was a relationship with a partner or a collaboration with a brand that might not have been there, might not have happened had it been a raging bull? Anything that stands out?
Well, I mean, I often wonder, we launched Rekt Guy right before the bear, right when everything crashed, right, as a free mint. And I often wonder, if that was a raging bull, would people have liked the NFT, or would people have resonated with being Rekt as much? I really do wonder that. And the other thing I wonder about is our community formed during a bear market, because people were like, okay, this is a place to drown my sorrows, everyone's Rekt, etc., etc. I wonder again, like, if it was a raging bull market, would this just not have been a relevant project and then fizzled away into irrelevance? Especially because we had no roadmap, no plans for anything. It just randomly went viral. So that's definitely one thing that I do wonder. And the second thing I would say is, although we haven't necessarily specifically had a partnership come out of down periods, I think there are always opportunities to, as you said, lots of people are quiet and not saying anything. And if you can spin up a good narrative and a story and show that you're really working hard, you have a real opportunity to differentiate yourself in a bear market versus in a bull market when everything is going a lot higher. So I view them as opportunity. If you're thinking about 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead, right, and not just, okay, how can I make as much money as I can in this cycle this year, then these are the moments you actually you relish, because there are opportunities for your project to differentiate itself versus people who are a lot more myopic.
Absolutely. A lot less, not only easier to stand out in times are down, but there's also less people doing it, less competitors, less people doing it publicly anyways. And, one thing, we talked a little bit about the Rekt Guy story and Rekt Coin. I don't think we've yet hit on the equity component. And I actually, Diego or Diablito in the chat says, I wish I had one for the earlier days. It would be fun to have that equity and feel part of it. I just have another question in the chat regarding that as well, regarding the equity component. Was that something, like, when you minted Rekt Guys, like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to build a big brand around this, and eventually we're going to bring these supporters, this community into the fold in that regard? Or was the equity component, would that just, you got the idea down the road? Like, can you share any more detail? Like, how did that happen? And do you think others will start to do more of that? I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't seen, especially with at least in the US, some of the changes from the administration, and it just seems more crypto friendly. After the success you've had building Rekt Brands, I thought we would see a lot of others go that, we're going to gift equity to our earliest supporters. And we really, there's been a couple others that have done some similar things, from, I think Goblins and the Plague, but none of them necessarily have built a a tangible brand like you've done with Rekt Drinks. So yeah, I guess anything you can share in terms of your thought process that went into that, your journey, and do you think we see others kind of follow suit?
Yeah, so when we launched everything, we never had plans to do what we're doing now. And halfway through Rekt Guy, we were like, okay, there's clearly something here. There's clearly a lot of people who believe in this, and it feels like it could work as a brand. So when we launched it, we built all this sort of goodwill, if you like, from our community, because Rekt Guy was a free mint, and people like getting free things. People like making money. That's how many projects have been successful. And that's also how you foster loyalty and how people feel, and not indebted to you. I feel like that's the wrong word, but people feel like they're on your team. So gifting equity was very thought out process where we're like, okay, we have 1,000, whatever it is, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people in our community, and they're all kind of just there. But why don't we convert them into like actual stakeholders, like real stakeholders, equity holders? And I think with equity and NFTs, one of the biggest criticisms where people felt like they owned equity, but they didn't. And, the community ended up being converted into consumers without really having a stake in the underlying business. And I think that was a conflict of interest across founders, community, investors, etc. And in doing what we did, I feel like we broke down all those conflicts and put everyone on the same team. So that was very carefully thought out in how we did that. And it worked, because we still have all the success we've had, again, is really down to our community. It's down to people championing the brand because they know they own a part of it. Like every time we do a drop, these drops sell out, because I always tell people, hey, look, buy drinks, get your friends to buy drinks, get your family to buy drinks. Everyone get at least 3 people to buy some of these drinks, even if they don't claim rewards or care about crypto. And, that's that way we're converting 1,000 buyers into 3,000 buyers, or 3,000 buyers into 9,000 buyers, right? Because everyone is like, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this because it's really beneficial towards me. So it's been very powerful and a big, very instrumental to our success. And there's a couple of things out there in the market now where I saw what happened with Pumpcade and MetaLex, and we were reading about that over the last few days. And there's something else called ERCS as well. And it's interesting now to see more novel ways to actually legally give people equity or get people a stake in the actual business in addition to the token, I think. Without making the token a security, which is obviously the tricky part. So I'm glad to see that, and we're always monitoring these things as well, for sure.
It's awesome. Yeah, I as a sharer, I hold a Rekt Guy NFT. I hold 100 shares, 1,000 shares. It's a non-material material amount, if that makes sense. Like I have no, I don't expect to cash out my shares for 6 figures someday. It's not, to me, it's not even would it be awesome if there's a Rekt Drinks goes files for IPO someday, or there's a $1 billion buyout? Sure, that'd be cool, but that's not my expectation. What locked me in as a brand ambassador and a supporter is the alignment. Is you didn't have to do this. I think you get it. To me, it's this is what you're doing is part of the vision I thought we would see from a lot of these NFT brands who wanted to come in and build a business and use the NFT as a way to bootstrap community and a loyal fan base and maybe some fundraising. But the way you've done it, it's really inspiring. And it's okay, I'm along for the ride for forever. I'll continue to claim and hold my Rekt coin, because might the coin go back up to all-time highs? Maybe. But to me, it's more of I want to support because of how you guys have built and what you're building. And it is exciting. It's exciting from a community member standpoint, as you're not just saying, hey, this is your vested community members, but you did gift the equity. You are pushing forward this brand coin concept and allowing those vocal supporters to share in that upside in different ways. But I could go on and pick your brain. I appreciate your time, and I really have enjoyed watching you all build from afar. And every time you have you on the show, I know you're a busy guy though, and I want to be respectful.
Yeah,
I do want to get into Rekt Energy, talk a little bit about that. I may have some specific questions. We did have on the equity front, I did get another question. Rick says, do you report revenues or profits to shareholders who got equity from holding those NFTs? What does that relationship look like for those I guess both the shareholders, and then second question would be just the Rekt coin holders, the community members. What do you share as it relates to the business, and whether it be revenues or profits or any like the kind of like the behind the scenes?
Yeah, we have to share top line financials to people, which we're actually going to get out over the next 2 or 3 weeks or so. We've just been working with accountants to finalize those numbers. So anyone who is an equity holder will be able to access that in their portal very soon, and that will be reported because we have an obligation to do it, just like any company that's raised capital. So it's in that way it's good because people see numbers and can equate things, and I think we don't have to report it to token holders, like specifically saying, but we have a big enough community where over 1,000 people will have access to it. So I'm sure, eventually these numbers will get out, etc. So
very cool. Okay, Rekt Energy, Rekt Drinks.
Yes.
Great collaboration, some of the best partnerships in the space. I mean, almost anyone who's big and material, it feels like you've done a collaboration or partnership with. You've launched Jamber said, took them into Giant Eagle stores. I grew up in Ohio, so was very familiar with the Giant Eagle brand. You just launched a new supermarket chain in the UK. Wasn't familiar, but I saw some of the pictures, and as I spent 20 years in the retail space before going all in on crypto here, and I understand that doesn't just come together. Like, there's a lot of work that comes to gaining those distribution partners. Can you speak? Are you working with I think it was, I think Pudgy shared they were working with like Retail Monster, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of helping get some of those distribution deals. Are you working with distributors, distribution partners? How does that come together in terms of getting this placement in these supermarkets?
Yeah, I mean, we work with distributors in the US. We work with a team called Superior Beverages. They cover about 13,000 retailers in the US, and if you show you're successful in some areas, you can start to grow that portfolio and get a lot larger. So we've spoken to many different, just like any business, any industry, there are so many middlemen, consultant type people who are like, I can get you here, or I can get you there, and this is the place to be. And I think we've been a bit more cautious on working with people like that, just because in my small experience of doing business as an entrepreneur, I've realized that most middle type people are usually a waste of time and money, is my honest opinion on that. And I've never walked away from one of those things feeling like, well, let me put it this way, we've never not terminated one of those agreements. I've never felt like it was worthwhile, and I've always felt like, fuck, I can do this myself. Yeah, we can do it ourselves. And especially now with Claude and AI and everything, it's like definitely you have way more of a boost. So I think we're very I would say I'm very skeptical of these types of agencies, and people will always promise you the world. They'll be like, oh, we can get you into here, we can get you into here, just pay us 20 grand, 30K a month, 40K a month, whatever it is, and it will take a few months, but trust us, it's going to happen, etc. And it's like, that's not, it just doesn't feel like a good risk to take, when I think you can achieve the same results just by doing really well. I think if you just do really well at the level you're at, naturally you will have to grow and expand. And I do think some of the best CPG brands out there, those that have gotten acquired in the last year or so, like they started out with really strong D2C businesses, and these guys were selling tons on Shopify, tons on Amazon, and beyond, maybe a marketing agency is helpful for sure. And we've definitely worked with a team, the Uncaged guys, who've been amazing at helping us tell the story a bit more and helping us on the promotional side. But away from that, again, with AI, you can just do all that stuff yourself, right? And then if it's a good product, it will sell. Ultimately, if it's a good product, it will sell. You don't have to. Sure, you can optimize your marketing, but if the product's not good, it won't sell. If the product is good, it will sell. Mm-hmm. And then when you start doing those big, really big numbers, D2C, that's when I think you can do quite well. So a lot of it is patience. I think a lot of it's working with the right people. A lot of it is knowing who to trust, who's there to extort you. And I feel like I've had enough experience now to have a good sense of that, I would say.
Speaking of good products, is Rekt Energy in any of those retailers yet, or is it just D2C?
Just Amazon right now in the US, and we'll be launching it in the UK and Europe soon.
Very cool. And no disrespect meant whatsoever. I think the Rekt Energy, the Rekt drinks, the sparkling water, it's great, tastes great. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
That said, I don't normally drink sugar. Like I'm just like anti-sugar, anti-added sugar, and so like I still have like occasionally I'll have it's like a treat for me. It's almost like I don't drink soda ever, but like I'll do a Rekt Energy. Now or a Rekt drink. When it came to the Rekt Energy, I got really excited because not only is it not sugar, like, and I'm someone I'm up 4 in the morning, go to the gym early every day, and I'm consume too much caffeine, but I have always done a pre-workout. I'm not just saying this, I'm not just glazing you because you're on the show. I've shared it previously. Like I went from like I've cycled through some different ones, but the one right before this was Bum from Chris Bumstead, who's like a 6-time Mr. Olympia. It's good. This is genuinely better. Not only is it feels cleaner. Some of the stuff, like I'm pretty dialed into like the supplement and fitness world. Cognizant. Am I saying that right? Cognizant?
Yeah, Cognizant. Yeah.
I'd never even heard of it before. How can you speak to like the formulations? How did this all come together from the Amity to the Cognizant and I assume some trial and error, some back and forth, but
so I've got one on my desk too, and I take it every day. And I think the idea was when we created this, you're right with the sparkling water, by the way, that feedback is not just you, it's a lot of people. It's not that exciting a product. You're not just going to smash through 10 of those every day, right? And it's not something that gets you excited, but the whole functional space is really exciting. And we all read on our timelines about, people looks maxing, and then you have Brian Johnson, and, we're all into health. It's great. It's great that the trend right now is health because it's really good for the human race. But so am I. I think I'm probably not too dissimilar to you, where I'm really interested in all the stuff. So I was like, fuck, I'm someone who works out every morning, and then I just sit at my desk for about 10, 12 hours plus and just try and do as much work as I can, all on Rekt basically. And it was like, can we create a product that I actually will find useful and will use? And I'm not someone who's ever really had much caffeine before, but since launching this and testing it and stuff, I've gone really into it. And so the idea was like, okay, let's make something that gives you energy, that's more economical than, having a cup of coffee every day. And let's make something that helps and improves your focus, but let's try and find ingredients that are actually clinically proven and not just random things, right? So this has 200 million grams of caffeine. I think having clean energy from caffeine from natural sources is a must. And it's a bit more expensive, but it's an absolute must. And we source ours from coffee beans, which is natural coffee beans, which is pretty normal. And then Amity, which is like an Amazon, that's a brand for something called Guayasa, I think I pronounced that right, which is an Amazon tea leaf extract, basically. So that's where the energy comes from, which is all clean energy, not synthetic energy. The second thing it has is L-theanine, which many people might be familiar with. And that's usually something that you may take before bed, or it sort of relaxes you. It has a calming effect. It also improves focus. There's some clinical studies to show that it improves focus, but it works really well when paired with caffeine. And this has 200 milligrams of caffeine because it's known to reduce the jittery feeling. It allows the energy to feel like it's released in a much more balanced fashion rather than like, bang, here's energy in here. I'm all wiry, etc. So that's the idea behind that. And then, citoclean is the chemical, the natural chemical that you produce in your brain already, and that Cognizant is the brand for that, basically. So Cognizant is one of the brands that produce that, and that's the thing that really helps with focus. Like, it's clinically proven to help with memory, with alertness, with reaction times, and just general focus. So we tried a few different things, and just that ingredient for the samples, I found really had a big impact for me, because it was like, okay, I actually do feel like I'm locked in. I do feel very focused on this, and I feel very, it's not just focus, but it's almost like, how do I pronounce that? Energetic focus. I'm like, hey, I've done this. I've done this. What's next? Like, you feel like, sometimes if you're like me, you wake up and you're like, fuck, I've got all this work to do. I've got all this shit to do. Where do I start? and I've had my scoop, and I'm like suddenly like, fuck, okay, I'm just like banging all the shit out. And who knows? Like, is this placebo? Is it not placebo? How reliable are clinical studies? Have they tested it with enough people? I don't really know, but all I know is it's working for me, and I now have it every day, and it's just perfect. Like, I don't have it pre-workout because I do a lot of cardio, and I don't like the way it makes my heart feel, because it's you feel really energized, and I think it's better if you're just lifting weights and not raising your heart rate a lot. But I'll have it around lunchtime, and then just for the whole day, like 12 p.m. till 12 a.m. basically, I'm just like fully locked in, fully focused. And it's zero sugar as well. We use something called Ono Sweet to sweeten it, which comes from fermented rice. And the idea was like, let's just make something that I would have, like the same things as you. I want clean energy from natural sources. I want it to be zero sugar. I want it to taste good. I want it to look good. I want it to actually do the things that it's supposed to do. And that's what we've made. And it's hard. It's actually, there's lots of energy powders and focus powders on the market, but it's hard to find something with these exact ingredients. I don't think there is.
I never have. I'm not even joking. Like, I've went through dozens of energy mixes, energy drinks. I've taken creatine for years. Like, I'm pretty dialed in, and like Cognizant was new to me. The Ono Sweet was new to me. I've seen things with like monk fruit, and I think that's what you use for the is that what you use for the
we use Ono. For the sparkling water was agave syrup.
Agave syrup. Okay, yeah.
That's right.
So there's a lot of other sweeteners out there that are okay, but these were new ones to me, and the word I keep coming back to is clean. It's real energy, it's real focus, and yet without the jitters or the I mentioned like that the bum like it's got, I don't know if it's niacin or it's got something where I get like the tinglies, which I don't necessarily mind, but I can see most people aren't gonna like, you're not gonna sit down and get all tingly to work on Claude for the day. It might be one thing for so it's really good, clean energy, and in a very competitive energy drink market, it stands out as a user, as a consumer. Like, I genuinely notice a difference than everything else I've tried. And so Flowers on a really quality product. Like, it stands on its own. It's price competitive, but not only is it price competitive at $40 for 30 servings, you factor in the the
getting $20 of Rekt coin, yeah.
You can't find bad energy drinks like that for $20 for 30 servings. Like, you can't find like ones that are not clean for that. And so it's incredibly price competitive, really good stuff. Is that, and also before I forget, like this claim, I haven't done this. This is my second one. It's the smoothest claim process I've experienced in all my time in crypto.
It's
now,
crazy, right?
I did it on a phone where I had the base app installed, but no exaggeration, I scanned the QR code, and within seconds, not like 50 seconds, within like 3 seconds, I had 140 million Rekt coin in my base app. Like, boom! All I did was scan the QR code and it appeared. It was super, super, like one click and you're done. And was that? I guess I know technology's come a long way in the last few years, and we're able to abstract a lot of this, the blockchain tech. But how much of that was on your guys? Is that, I guess, why Base? Let's start there. Why? I have ideas, but why partner with Base on the? I know you did the drink collaboration, but from the claim standpoint and the Base app, is there anything to read into there with the it going into the Base app or claim to the Base app, or it just was the easiest way to have a quote unquote normie to claim this Rekt coin?
Yeah, I think, look, Base is incredible. I think they just have an amazing community. I think those guys, I think the Coinbase team and Jesse have really made something that people like to feel a part of, and they've done a really good job of just building a good network of products rather than focusing on just token first and extraction of that kind of stuff. It's a real thing, and we're now experiencing that firsthand as Rekt. Like, we didn't have to build anything really to create this. Previously, 2 years ago, before Base, we'd have to spend tens of thousands of dollars, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars on just building the tech for this claim. Now there's something called Link Drop, which is on Base, and they've been able to build on Base because it's been so welcoming to builders, and we can just use that existing technology for these claims. And as you've seen with the Base app, it's literally as easy as scanning a QR code, and you've got the coins in your wallet in a matter of seconds. And for us to be able to do that and just plug and play that technology, which took me, less than an hour to set up and implement, it's crazy. And for us to do it without any tech cost to us. So I think it's amazing what base has created, and it's amazing that we, as originally and initially a non-base, specific product, have been able to just plug and play on that and do really well. So I would love to do more stuff in base. I really would. I would love to do more stuff in base. I would love to collaborate more with base and make it a deeper part of what we're doing, because we've had thousands and thousands of claims now on the base app, from Giant Eagle to Waitrose to these energy tubs, and we're just going to keep selling more product. We're going to keep selling more and more things, and I feel like we can really onboard a lot of people to the base app, and I think it's a big thing that we want to be a part of. So yeah, I'd love to do more of them for sure.
It was that. So I say I grew up in Ohio, but I haven't been back since you launched in Giant Eagle. Is it a similar or same claim process?
Yeah, so it's a very similar thing. Yeah, the way that works is that you get a receipt printed out at the till, and then you scan that basically, and that's how you get it.
Very cool. Well, you're getting some real-time feedback. Von Frunten, longtime friend of the show, and a builder in the space as well, building an apparel brand with Vonga. He says, I forgot I had ordered a tub of Rekt Energy before spring break. Might make up a batch to see how it works. If you, he goes on to say, oh, this stuff tastes amazing. Blue raspberry is my new jam. Compliments to the chef. And he says, and damn, that base claim experience was ridiculously easy. I'm genuinely impressed all around. So yeah, awesome. Getting a lot of love. And I mean, I haven't heard any different. It really is. And I think maybe we make such a big deal because nothing's been easy when it comes to the connecting the physical to the digital realm for so long. And this is I think what I experienced when I claimed that. I was like, okay, this is it. This is the vision I think so many of us had for things like a brand coin and on-chain loyalty rewards. Like it has to be easy. You can't, the idea of forcing a customer to go create a new wallet and download MetaMask, like that it was never going to work at scale. Yep. And you've taken down a lot of these roadblocks, all these barriers. So appreciate, thanks for the leadership on behalf of the space at large, because this stuff is important to, to push the space forward. Prior to that, Von Frunten also asked, he says, beyond Rekt, or he said, you mentioned previously, Rekt brands will expand beyond drinks. Interested to see where that takes the brand long-term, beyond the sparkling water, now the Rekt Energy. Anything else on the roadmap that you're able to speak to today, or even tease like what we might expect in the future from Rekt brands, whether it be Rekt drinks or even beyond that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely more that we're working on, and I think, as I said, we're just in this amazing world of new products coming to market and new things, new ingredients, new ways to be healthy, and we there's more stuff that we're working on. I think the great thing for us is like we have an existing community. We have people who we can try this stuff with, and we can develop something and create something that's unique and that hasn't been done before, and already have that tailwind that we get from our existing community. That can be very powerful, I think. So I can't specifically speak to what we have coming up, but there's definitely going to be more coming over the next months for sure.
Love it. As far as, and if you're first time you're hearing about Rekt Games, I've got some of their collaborations you can see on the screen. That you partnered with X Games, you partnered with WorldStar, MoonPay, Base, as we mentioned, Binance, Jupiter, OpenSea, Abstract. And again, not trying to pry alpha out of something that's not been announced yet, but any other maybe partners that are public that we haven't hit on here? Or is this model of collaborations with new drink flavors, is that something we'll continue to see, or was this like to make the splash and now going forward will be mostly in retail and Amazon direct to consumer?
Yeah, it's a good question actually. I think we're keen to still do collaborations where they make sense, but all of last year up until now, it's sort of been like new sparkling water collaboration every month, every 2 months, etc. I think we're starting to move away from that. I would say, part of it is like if you keep releasing tokens into the market, especially in a tough market, it doesn't have it's tough on price action. And the second thing is I do definitely want to focus more on the energy powders, the other stuff that we have coming out, starting to move slightly away from sparkling water. And I think the sparkling water cans were great for us because it was a really easy way to get people into the brand. You can produce hundreds of thousands of cans, get them out there, build your community, get people to understand what you're about. But ultimately, I think there's a bigger opportunity in some of the functional stuff that we've been talking about. And Collaborations that we have, a collaboration coming up with FaZe Esports, which is public and people know about, and we have an energy powder and an energy drink coming out with them. That'll be our first energy drink, and we will do more collaborations in the future for sure, where they make sense. I think.
So,
Yeah,
but
go ahead,
energy,
go ahead.
like a canned energy drink, is that what you're mentioning?
Canned, a ready to drink
Okay.
canned energy drink is coming out. Yep. Yep.
Very cool. Similar, same or similar formulation as
Very
the
similar.
powder?
Yeah, very similar. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you probably take, I'm a big fan of the functional beverages. You know, I consume too much caffeine, but there is so much, I mean, not all caffeine's created equal. And there's, whether it's L-theanine or the cognizine, like it's just, there's not just the caffeine itself, but what you're consuming with the caffeine matters. And I think that you mentioned the looks Maxine and the Brian Johnsons of the world. Like I think you're going to see the masses, the public is going to become more and more aware of what they're consuming, and you can have a really quality beverage that tastes great and is actually good for you. That there's functional benefits. That's not, you know, loaded with sugar or toxins, and it's just, yeah. I think I'm a big fan of what you're building in the product, in the category, albeit very competitive. I think, you know, you have unique competitive advantage due to this, how you're doing it, and this rabid fan base. Speaking of rabid fan base, I just saw, as I was showing the Amazon page, if you Von Frutton, you and anyone else who's picked up a canister of this the Rekt Energy, go hit them with a 5-star Google review or 5-star Amazon review. That stuff adds up and goes a long way towards index. And I saw you were shot up the Amazon charts pretty quickly, and I think that'll continue. But yeah, that's my plug for Rekt Energy. If you've purchased Rekt on Amazon, go give them some love and hit them with a 5-star review. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. You're getting some Rekt gyms, Rekt jerky, Rekt cruises, some ideas, unsolicited ideas for future products. One other question: I know in the States today, as far as Amazon goes, is there? And I think you mentioned Europe coming soon. Diablito was questioning Canada. Any ETA on when they might be able to purchase Rekt Energy or Rekt drinks in Canada?
Pretty soon. We hopefully within the next few days, we're working on making that stock available for other regions outside the US. It probably won't be on Amazon to begin with, but you should be able to purchase it pretty soon.
Very cool. Very cool. And then a few other questions, like as far as like the community, OG Good Media, or OD Good Media says, will there be Rekt grants for shareholders or token holders or NFT holders to help with brand exposure? Anything you can comment on that?
Yeah, we're working through some ideas to better incentivize or create user-generated content, which I think is very powerful for a brand like ours. We just have to, the thing we have to be careful about and figure out how to get it right is a lot of the world is still very crypto skeptic, or they just don't like crypto, And I think something I've realized is we're also passionate about crypto, that so much so that we want everyone in the world to use crypto, and we want to force it down people's throats. And I've realized in recent months, some people just don't care. They just don't want to do it. And I'm the kind of person, well, if someone doesn't care, I'm not just going to force them to do it, right? So kind of experienced this with, we had this Waitrose pop up in Canary Wharf with the drinks. And the funniest thing is people were really interested in the drinks. Sales were good, and people bought the drinks for the drinks. And none of these guys were really claiming crypto. And every time I mentioned crypto to them, but bearing in mind, this is in the financial district of London, people kind of like stepping away, thinking, one woman asked me, what is Rekt coin? I was like, well, think of it as like a reward. And she was like, is it crypto? I said, yeah. She's like, oh, it's more of a punishment for me. I was like, oh, okay, fucking hell. But, when we think about the point I'm trying to make is when we think about UGC outside of the Web3 space, we don't want people to get that feeling of like, oh, these guys are just forcing crypto down our throats. It should just feel more natural, like it's there and not always pushing it. So in terms of marketing, we have to get that right. Obviously on X, where we have a crypto audience, we push the crypto side of things, but on Instagram or on TikTok or other places that we're starting to expand in now, we have to get just that messaging right and the marketing right. And sometimes the marketing of, oh, buy this drink and make $50 in crypto is not good marketing, because people just assume it's a scam and will never even try it, right? Whereas if it's like, okay, buy this and get Rekt loyalty points, and then they go ahead and do it, and then they figure out later on, it's like, oh, this actually has real money, is worth real money. Oh, I can trade it on the base app, I can sell it, I can buy more of it. Oh, it's moving up and down in price. If they figure out that journey for themselves, that I think is a much more powerful experience than just me yapping on at them saying, oh, you got to get this Rekt coin, so we have to get that marketing right. And I think if we just blanket launch Rekt grants for UGC, I think we would miss out on a lot of the UGC I think we want to get in order for this to grow outside of the crypto world. So we're thinking about it. We're trying to figure out what the best move forwards is, but it's, some of these things are more of an art and less of a science, and we just have to figure out the right messaging, I think.
Makes sense. I mean, real challenge. And I'm hopeful that the sentiment around crypto and like things like brand coins and loyalty rewards on chain, I'm hopeful it changes, but the reality is it's, go survey 100 people and it's probably going to be more than 50 are going to have some sort of negative connotation or negative response tied to it. I wonder, beyond the Rekt coin rewards, any thoughts on, I guess, like what any thoughts on a referral program or affiliate program? Like, what can the community do other than, like we talked about, go leave a 5-star Amazon review, share it. Like, other than that, what can the community do today? Is there any requests? Like, if in your ideal world, everyone that's all these fans of Rekt Energy, what would you love to see them do over the course of the next, weeks, months?
The most powerful thing for us, in my opinion, and it's a bit of a double-edged sword because it's not something that we can measure, but the most powerful thing for us is just marketing by word of mouth. And someone sent me a text the other day saying, oh, I saw these drinks in Waitrose. These are the drinks that you have at your house. Like, someone's mum sent them that text. And that for me is really powerful because someone's seen the drinks at someone's house, remembered them, then seen them somewhere else. And now it's like, okay, I know what this brand is, right? And my goal and our goal at the beginning of all of this was, how do we just get as many people as possible to know the brand? And if they do, and if they've heard of it, then that's what makes it more powerful. The rest will fall into place. So what I would love for everyone to do is just get, tell your friends and family about the brand, but like, just do things where, like, okay, I'm going over to my mate's house, let me just bring a couple of cans with me and let's share them with him. Or, oh, I know someone who takes energy powders or pre-workouts. Let me introduce you to this product. Say, hey, you want to try this? By the way, you get $20 of Rekt coin with it. And, like, try it out. Like, those kinds of, like, sort of vocal or, hearsay type introduction to the brand is much more powerful than someone seeing an ad or seeing a post by me or seeing a LinkedIn post or whatever it is. And that's what I would love for people to do. And if you really want to make a difference and make an impact, and you really want to try hard for this stuff, just set yourself a target. Every week, I'm going to try and introduce one person to the brand, whether it's giving them a drink, whether it's getting them to buy an energy powder or giving them a scoop at the gym, whatever it is. If I can just introduce one person to the brand every week, every month, whatever it is, every year, I don't care. Like that, in my opinion, I value that a lot. I think each additional person who gets into this brand, even if it's one person, even if it's a child who has to ask their parents to buy them Rekt drinks, the sparkling water is obviously not the caffeinated stuff. That's a lot. That goes a real long way. And that would be my request. And we can't measure it. I can't measure it. We don't know what's going on out there, but trust me, if all of us do that, it will have a massive, massive impact.
Yep. I mean, I love it. I wholeheartedly agree and it's in line with, from my perspective, how you build everything thus far. It really is. It's like organic plus. It's like organic with this. There is rewards. Like, the community's been rewarded time and time again, from equity to Rekt coin, and even on an individual person's day, the Rekt coin rewards. But it really has been. It's not like in your face. It's not been spammed. It really is. I mean, yes, you partner with some major brands, but you also don't see a bunch of the known, KOLs just shilling Rekt Energy or Rekt drinks because they're being paid to do so. It appears like everyone that's talking about it or it's passionate about it, it's like they're really fans of the brand. They're fans of the product, and I think that goes a long way. Someone just asked, they saw MoonPay, said just testing out some new stuff. Don't mind us. They were wondering if there's anything anything there you could speak to as it relates to MoonPay.
That's going to be I'll let MoonPay do the talking on that one. I don't want to ruin anything, so I'll let them do it.
Fun. I know we're running up against time here. I want to be respectful of yours. Is there anything I didn't ask you today? Is there anything you were hoping to talk about, whether it be your journey, Rekt Drinks as a whole, this Rekt Energy specifically? Anything that we didn't get into that you were hoping to share?
No, I think we covered a lot, and it's great to be back on here. I always appreciate your support and see you post about us a lot on the timeline. It's it makes a big impact for us. It always makes me feel grateful that we have people like yourself involved, and thanks again for inviting me and having me on. It's always a pleasure to come on.
No, pleasure's mine, and again, I'm happy to do so. It's like I've never been paid a dime. I do have, like I said, I have the Rekt guy NFT. I've got some Rekt coin, but I genuinely a fan. Like I am so excited about this space, and what got me so excited and keeps me so excited is the opportunity to interact with builders like yourself, and it's inspiring. Like you all are truly pushing the space forward, and I am happy to amplify what you're doing. And everything I say, I mean it. Like it's quality product, and I'm proud of you all. You all should be proud. I know you've been go, but I hope you get a chance to, at some point, take a breather and reflect on how far you've come in a very short period of time. I know in that year one, there was a lot of talk. Okay, Red Bull did 1 million units in year one, and Rekt Drinks came flying out of the gates. And again, I'm not trying to downplay the sparkling water. Like it was very impressive how you navigated that in a tough market. The collaborations, the brand partnerships, all very impressive. I really think you're really onto an incredible product that stands on its own with Rekt Energy here, and it's been really fun to watch the journey and the open invite. Would love to have you back on anytime. I enjoy the conversation every day, and grateful for the community, and really grateful to have a chance to talk with founders and leaders like yourself that truly are pushing the space forward. Like this is how I think the reputation for crypto changes, is when you have other successful entrepreneurs and just the general public, when they get a chance to hear from people like yourself and they get to hear the Rekt story. It's like, what is there not to like? Like how are you going to FUD this? Like I understand the instant reaction from someone who might've gotten scammed or had a bad experience in crypto. Like, oh, it's a crypto coin. But I think that can change over time as we amplify and highlight builders and teams like yourself over the next celebrity meme coin that's going to rug or go to zero. It's just like, I think this is how we all collectively can help change that reputation, is highlighting those that are doing it right. And there'll be challenges, though. I'm sure that, you've made mistakes before. I'm sure there'll be another mistake or a curveball or something that doesn't go exactly as planned, but how you handle even the challenges is impressive. And truly appreciate your time, and looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what's next. And we'll have to do this again whenever. Like you let me know if there's ever a big, whether it's a pre-announcement or shortly following something new. I enjoy the conversation every time, but say my best to the rest of the team as well. I don't think I know Tabs and I have interacted on the timeline and maybe DMs, but definitely pass along some flowers, because I know it's, well, actually I do have one question to leave you with.
Yeah.
Not forgetting about the brand, but you mentioned AI. I made a joke about spending 12 hours with Claude. Is there anything that, I know it's a pretty lean team. I also am a big fan of Dunk Cookie and Uncaged. Is there anything though, like you're doing with AI that you think maybe others haven't caught up with yet, or may not be like other builders in crypto or outside of crypto, something like any tactic or any advice on the AI front that, like, hey, we started doing this thing and it just changed our entire approach, or it made us this much more efficient, or it took something that used to be 5 hours a week and now it's 5 minutes a week. Anything that jumps out as like hey, here's a very tactical advice as it relates to leveraging AI to build a business?
My biggest advice on AI is, number one, you should absolutely be using it in whatever you're doing, because it's just insane. And if you are a startup and you're not part of a big company, you have the ability to use it, right? Like big companies have to go through a whole legal process and security process to get this stuff working. And the second thing is, if you don't know where to start, the best place to start, and this is what I did, is just like give Claude the prompt, like give it the prompt that, like, this is my business, these are my daily tasks, this is what I do. Ask me questions that will help you figure out how you can be useful to me, or how we can build things that will be useful to me. And then you get into a conversation of different things, and then eventually it will come up with some suggestions. And for me, it wasn't like I didn't do those exact suggestions, but it gave me ideas. I was like, okay, actually, you know what? I don't want to do that, but this would be really interesting. And that sort of prompted my thoughts. So that's my biggest advice, because every company is unique, every human is unique, everyone has different difficulties, everyone has different strengths. You need to tailor this thing so it's personalized to what you're doing. So the things that are useful for me may not be useful for others, and but you can actually use AI to figure out what you need to use AI for. You see what I mean? And that, I think, is the most my biggest piece of advice, I would say.
It's great advice. Talk to it as if it were a human consultant, and even if you don't know how to incorporate it today, ask it. Like have a conversation, and not just as a chat bot or a good Google search. Don't just replace Google search. Actually have a conversation and talk through and help it understand you better or what you're building better. I think that's great advice, and appreciate you sharing.
Of course.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, closing words? If not, we'll get you out of here.
No, again, thanks a lot for having me, and hopefully markets are turning, so stick it out, everyone.
I've been saying, like, bottoms in. We are might be some pullbacks, but I'm pretty excited about the current state of the market, and I don't think it's going to be a sell and may go away type of year. Any high level macro takes on that?
I don't think so. It's a different year. I think it's a different year. So let's see and hope.
I'm with you. Awesome, good stuff. Appreciate it as always. You're welcome back anytime. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will have to do this again soon. Greatly appreciate you. Oh, Bitcoin just cracked 77, by the way.
Awesome.
So yeah, we got that coffee with Captain Pump this morning. We'll give Rekt Energy a little bit of credit for that. But really appreciate you, and as always, appreciate everyone who tuned in today. Appreciate all the questions in the chat. I hope we got everything answered out there. If you haven't yet, go leave Rekt a 5-star review on Amazon, and give them some positive feedback out there. Tell your friends, tell your family, and let's help. This is one of the great success stories that should be getting some more love outside of us crypto natives, and I think collectively we can all help that become real. But OSF, thanks again so much. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone who tuned in today, and enjoy your weekends. We'll be back Monday, as always, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.